Now, how cooked is free speech? One man has found out the hard way. He was arrested earlier this month while protesting outside an area in the Lake District where a new mosque is planned to be built. The alleged crime, saying "We love bacon" in a sing-song voice. Certainly provocative, but is a truism in Britain. According to Cumbria Police, to prevent crime and disorder, a proactive dispersal order was in place to enable officers to disperse individuals they suspected may commit crime or disorder. So, talking about this is Andrew Doyle, former host of Free Speech Nation. He's there somewhere. He's coming from America. Hey!
Hi, Josh. How's it going?
Andrew, look at you. You've changed. Your shirt is open.
Yeah. Everything's more free and relaxed in the US of A.
That's it. You've got an American accent now.
The country.
Yeah. So I'm sure you read about this, of course, from America. It probably seemed even more insane from over there.
It did, and I think it's really great that we're talking about it. You know, you're Jewish, I'm a vegetarian. Who better to talk about bacon? But I think it is a very interesting case because, of course, this man, everyone saw the footage. It went on viral online, and we saw this guy outside this Islamic center, which was in the process of construction near to the Lake District, just a few miles south of the Lake District border. A lot of people are protesting about it because they're concerned about the size of the mosque, the impact that it has on the natural beauty and the landscape, all sorts of things. Inevitably, those people are being accused of being racist and Islamophobic and the rest of it. But all of that is kind of a distraction. What's important here is that the gentleman in question, 23-year-old guy, was taken away, put in handcuffs, arrested for doing, as you say, a sing-song, "We love bacon." Now, obviously, we don't want to say too much about that. That's a form of needling, and it's perfectly possible for people to be offended by that. I think if you stood outside a vegan restaurant and sang "We love bacon," that could be considered offensive as well.
That's how I spend my Friday nights.
You do.
Yeah.
I've seen you do it. I think it's deplorable. But should the police be involved? That is the question. And although we don't want to say too much about this specific case at this point, it's worth raising that point. Why is it that the police in this country are arresting people, investigating people so often, so commonly, and of course, as we've seen, people have been going to prison for saying offensive things, posting offensive memes. The idea seems to be now, and it's just taken root completely, that if someone is offended, and if that offence is based on their protected characteristics, you know, race, religion, sex, sexual orientation, etc., then that is sufficient for police involvement. I say, no, not at all. We need a whole rethink about free speech. I think the free speech argument in the UK, I hate to say it, feels like it's been lost now. I think we need to reiterate the basic principle, the basic points that the media class, the political class, largely don't understand these arguments. And I think this is an example of that.
Which you should be able to be free to offend someone.
Exactly that. But I think people's minds have been driven insane over all of this. I mean, you were speaking just now about the Lucy Connolly case, and we've seen all sorts of people bending over backwards. I've seen leading barristers and media commentators bending over backwards to make excuses for the simple fact that a woman was in prison for over a year for a tweet hastily deleted, a tweet, by the way, which I've never seen anyone defend the substance of. The point is that we seem to have bought wholesale into this idea that offensive language, offensive words should be punished by the state, that the state should have the right to decide which words are acceptable and which words are not. And that principle is huge. This has never been a debate about whether we approve of someone saying "we love bacon" in front of a mosque, or if we approve of someone saying "burn down hotels for all I care," as in the case of Lucy Connolly. It's never about the endorsement of the substance of what's being said. It's the bigger question, the broader question. Do we want to live in a society where we have empowered the state to decide which language is too far, which language merits a custodial sentence, which language merits police involvement? Because I tell you what, I mean, you can go back to famously, the satirist Juvenal, the Roman satirist, said, "Who watches the watchmen?" And that's the key question. Who do you trust in authority to set those parameters? Because I can't think of anyone. I can think of no one in authority who is without bias, without political bias or ideological bias, who will exploit any kind of law to do this. Now, in the case of the "We Love Bacon" thing, you know, their justification is the Public Order Act of 1986, Section 18 of which talks about insulting language or abusive language. Now, of course, if you locked everyone up or arrested everyone who said something that was abusive or insulting, well, it would clean my Twitter timeline pretty sharpish, and that would be quite nice. But I don't want people who say insulting things to me.
Well, it's
or
also a
abusive
very
things
hard
adopted
thing
away.
to prove, right? I mean, if this person was in front of a synagogue and saying, or a potential synagogue saying, "We love bacon," I don't think people would be. I certainly, just speaking, I would not be offended as a Jew, someone saying, "We love bacon." So this idea that it's like preempting this kind of offence, like the police officer sort of going, someone could be offended by this. And
Sure.
that's enough.
I don't think most Muslims wouldn't be offended. They just shrug their shoulders and be like, "Oh, what an idiot! Let's move on." You know, it's not really. I mean, also, I think a lot of this has come down to the point that we've decided for some reason that Islam is more of a race than a religion. It's not. It's a belief system. As you say, if someone chants "We love bacon" outside of a mosque, people will just laugh at him and go about their day outside a synagogue. Rather, people don't really care. But this conflation of race and religion is really dangerous. It's behind the Labour Party's push to enshrine Islamophobia as a concept in law. What that really is an attempt to chill free speech and to chill criticism of a belief system. But actually, in truth, criticizing the tenets of Islam is no different than criticizing the tenets of vegetarianism, Confucianism, Christianity, anything else that you like. It's a belief system. It's not a race. And we have to, and I come back to this point, we need to restate these basic arguments, these basic principles. No one in a free society has the right not to be offended. No one. That's just not a thing. And we need to really go back to basics on this and try and explain. And in addition to that, we need to get away from this idea that horrible words online will incite real world violence. That has been disproven again and again over decades of research. That's not a thing. It doesn't happen, right? So the idea that, for instance, Lucy Connolly should have been in prison because she incited violence. No violence was caused as a result of that tweet, and no violence could have been caused as a result of that tweet. In America, they have the Brandenburg test, which is a pretty secure, robust test of what incitement to violence actually means. Her case would come nowhere near to that. But when you're talking about just someone standing outside a building site saying that he likes bacon, that's so absurd. It's so preposterous. And look, that case may probably not lead anywhere. I'm less interested in that case and more about what it tells us about where we are as a society right now, what it tells us about our police force and their belief and their conviction that they are meant to monitor the emotions and thoughts and speech of the public.
Do you think that would be, if there was one thing that we could say that was an action, would you just agree, yes or no, the police have to be educated first, and that would be the first step?
The College of Policing has to be abolished because it is now an activist body that trains the police to believe that it is their role to monitor the speech and emotions of the public, and that's not right. And in addition to that, we need to abolish the hate speech laws that are encoded into the Public Order Act, the Communications Act, and the Malicious Communications Act, which effectively mean that the law can be weaponized to shut people up. It's just not good enough. We're meant to be a free society.